Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
Special teams. The 49ers have put such an emphasis through draft capital, highest drafted kicker and punter in the NFL last year. Both were terrible. You pay guys like George Odum, who's number 40 on our special teams, or on our entire roster countdown, who's just a special teams guy. The 49ers extended him. You know, he's been with the Niners for 3 years. They extended him to a 2-year extension. He's not going anywhere. And, you know, his first year back with the 49ers in 2022, he was elite. He was a second-team All-Pro special teams player. Second time he earned that award in his NFL career. First time with the Niners. But let's be very honest. Like, his play the past 2 years has not been close to what you're looking for in a special teams quote-unquote ace. So you had one elite year. You had 2 down years. I don't even think he was a top 5 special team player for the 49ers last year. Dealing with some injuries, had some knee issues, like tore his bicep a couple years ago. And it's just, you have to have guys like this perform well. You have to. And whenever you look at like somebody like George Odum, who's entering into his 8th season, it's impressive what he's put together. But it's been 2 years since you've gotten something great from him. Now, you extended him in the before last season, and you're hoping to get some dividends, and man, did not. Now, it is important to remember George Odum was one of the starting safeties going into the season last year. He took all the first-team reps during training camp, all of the first-team reps during the preseason games, and started the first and second game of the season until that 97-yard touchdown week 2 to Justin Jefferson, and then after that he lost his starting spot. Now, you do have to be fair. Nick Sorensen, worst defensive coordinator in the history of the 49ers. Nobody played well. Diamador Lenore was the only player that improved last year defensively. How much you put that on Odum? Well, now you look at the depth chart. George Odom's a safety who plays special teams, but he is not going to be involved in that safety rotation. Not only do you bring in Richie Grant, Pinnock, those are going to be your 2 guys. Malik Mustafa took strides. You're hoping Jair Brown comes back, and then you draft Marquise Siegel on top of that. Like, Odum is just a special teams player now. Now, he's not new to the roster countdown. He was, in 2022, his first year, he was 39th. 2023, he was 46th. Last year, 2024, he was 37th, and now he's fallen 3 spots to number 40. Special teams only. That's all that he is going to be. And I honestly, with all of the, Brant Boyer, the new special teams coordinator, coming in, bringing so many safeties, I thought George Odum was going to be a cap casualty, which is horrific when you just sign somebody to a 2-year extension. He had a huge $1 million+ option that was due on April 1st, and I really thought they'd cut him. They did not, and then we found out, oh, well, Malik Mustafa's injured. Oh, Jair Brown's injured. We didn't know that beforehand. So so he's going to stick around for at least 1 more year, and you're hoping you can get back some quality special teams play. New coordinator, new scheme, new all those things. And George Odum, he wears jersey number 30, 6'1", 201. The Niners have a prototype for their DB, 6', 200. 32 3/8-inch arms. He's 31 years old, getting a little long in the tooth. Now, he did run a 4.45 40 at his pro day. That was 8 years ago. Top end speed still looks like it's a little bit of an issue, if I'm going to be very honest. Now, it wasn't early on in his career, but he's getting long in the tooth. A 1.53 10-yard split, that's what he's best at, that short area speed. 7 flat, 3 cone. 22 bench press reps is impressive. Dude loves the weight room. Now, he's from Tennessee, Millington, Tennessee. Went to Central High School there. Team captain, elite athlete, football, track, all region, everything. All-state player, 2-time, sprints, triple jump, you name it. Was a 2-star recruit. Didn't get a lot of big schools going after him. Commits to Central Arkansas and was there and just absolutely dominated. Appeared in 36 games there, tied for second in program history, 5 forced fumbles, tied for third with 3 blocked kicks, 6th all-time in that school's, history with career solo tackles, 145. Dude did everything. Really, really did. Return kicks, return punts, interception returns, you name it. Like, he was all conference, all everything. He was a consensus All-American at Central Arkansas. That does not happen. It just doesn't happen. Now, he's had a very interesting upbringing. Lost his father whenever he was young, and was living with his mom, who was having really difficult financial issues. He loved football, but he couldn't get a ride, so he had to give up the sport in middle school because he just couldn't get a ride to and from the school for practice. So then he moves in with his aunt and uncle. They get him, transportation and what he needs. Stuck with football, and the rest is kind of history for him. Now, not only did he lose his father, he had in August 21st on 2012, he's practicing for the high school, runs into a wide receiver, normal football collision, and turns out Dana Payne, his high school teammate who was a wide receiver, falls to the ground, has an asthma attack. They rush him, ambulance gets called. They rush him to the hospital, passes away. His teammate died of an asthma attack, and this devastated on him. He quit the game again and, just could not handle what was going on and the pressure. I mean, imagine being a high school kid and you blame yourself for all that stuff. Thankfully, family members of Payne, who passed away, reached out and told him, man, keep playing. It's not his fault. The mother told him, it's not your fault. Please keep playing. He goes back to football, and to this day, he says it still affects him. And in a recent interview with The Athletic, he says, to this day, I still hate hitting my teammates in practice. They come across the middle. I don't want to hit them. It's different in games, but, that stuff scars who you are. And I think it's a testament to Odum with the empathy and how much he cared to, go through that whole process and still carry that weight with him. I think it's a big deal. Now, his NFL career in 2018, undrafted free agent, signs on with the Colts, and just absolutely dominated. Made the roster right out of training camp. 2018 was his rookie year. Goes out and plays over 500 snaps as an undrafted free agent. Became a starter in 2019 on the defensive side. Still doing special teams, all that stuff. Makes his first All-Pro season as a special teamer. Had a 91 grade on special teams in 2020. And then in 2021, 84.8 grade, elite. The Niners bring him over after his rookie contract expires. And in 2022, he lands second team All-Pro special teams that had a 90.9 grade. Since then, listen to the grades. 2023, 60.4. 2024, 63. Just has not been that same player. And I know PFF scores and grades are kind of, arbitrary and whatever else. I'm telling you, as somebody that watched every single snap, special teams for the last 3 years, he has not been the same player. Tore his bicep in 2023, had a knee issue last year. I really like the way he plays. I like the passion. I like the aggressive that you see on special teams. You got to get back something of quality play on the special if you're George Odum. It hasn't been there. The Niners rewarded him anyway. I don't understand the contract, but I'd love to see somebody get paid. And so they gave him, a brand new extension in the 2026 season. So he's signed for 2025 and 2026. His career earnings, $12.7 million. I love it for an undrafted free agent. That makes me happy. Played in 105 games in his career. So I'm hoping that will continue and he could provide a positive spark. The emphasis the 49ers have put on special teams dollar-wise and roster number-wise, they better have a top 10 unit. I'm just going to be very, very honest. Now, you haven't had a top 10 special teams group for the 49ers since Shanahan showed up, and it's only got worse under Richard Hightower. And then, Schneider the last 3 years has been god-awful. You've got a great roster. You've got a great special teams roster. You are paying a lot of special teams players like George Odum. It's time to start bearing fruit. And could you imagine what it would be like if the 49ers special team doesn't cost them 2 to 3 games a year like it has been? What if it was a positive? Well, if it is going to be a positive, it's going to be a big thanks to George Odum this year having a bounce-back season, and I hope he does. Thank you to Ben, executive producer of this show. And for us and the 49ers Rush team, we're going to keep counting them down.